Welcome to CinePro, where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. The movie Hostel starts with Juliette as she's driving the car through the desert. There are skeletons of humans who died and time has passed over them. Then she arrives at an abandoned gas station, takes her gun, goes inside to search and secure the place. When she finds it clean, she sits down to rest for a bit. But she hears a scary monster sound coming from above the ceiling. She quickly leaves the place, and on her way, her colleague Harry contacts her on the radio. He asks her what she did on this run, and she tells him she went into a gas station, got some chewing gum and a few packs of biscuits. He tells her, "And what will that do for 39 people?" and tells her to head back before it gets dark. On her way, she sees a man bitten in his abdomen. He tells her that a zombie attacked and bit him, and that he managed to lock him inside the trailer. She goes inside, fights with the man, and kills him. When she comes out, she finds the man dead, searches him, finds a bottle of liquor, takes it, and also takes what she can from the trailer and leaves. On the way, she adjusts the car dashboard, looks at her picture with her husband, and the wind blows, making her feel very emotional. Suddenly, the car flips over. As the car flips, she starts remembering the first time she met Jack. He was hosting an exhibition of his painting, comes to introduce himself, and asks her if she liked the painting she's looking at. She says she doesn't really understand artists' work and only entered the gallery to hide from the rain because she's very afraid of rain. He tells her, "I'll introduce you to artist's work and all that," but she says, "No, the rain has stopped, so I'll leave." Then it starts raining again, so she has to stay. He starts explaining the meaning of one of the paintings to her. Back to the present, Juliette wakes up and finds her legs stuck in the car roof and can't pull them out. She tries to contact Harry on the radio, but the device is broken and there's no signal. She looks at her gun and finds it outside the car. She takes a piece of pipe tied to a wire and tries to pull the gun, but the pipe detaches from the wire and she can't get it. Back to her and Jack. They leave the exhibition and chat for a while until they reach Jack's house. He invites her in, and she accepts. After going inside, she says she really likes his house. He tells her he inherited it from his father, that he lived his whole life in France and returned here after his parents died. Late at night, he tells her he used to live in France and life was beautiful, but after his parents died, he had to return here to deal with the inheritance. Once he settled, he started his own art exhibition and adapted to the new situation. After he finishes talking about himself, he asks who she is and where she's from. She tells him she came here to escape from everything and most of the time wishes she could die because her life is so miserable. He asks her what her name is, but she suddenly cuts the conversation and says she wants to leave. In the elevator, he tells her, "My name is Jack. Just tell me your name. I don't want to know anything else." She tells him her name, and that's how the night ends. Back to the present. Juliette keeps trying to pull her legs out and finally manages, but she's badly wounded, with her flesh exposed. She takes the bottle of liquor she got from the man and pours it on her wound, then presses on her leg and pushes the flesh back in. Back to her memories. Juliette is sitting in a restaurant with someone, and at the same time, Jack is at the same restaurant. When they see each other, Juliette gets up and leaves with her companion. Jack follows her and sees her selling drugs to the person and taking money from him. Then she leaves, and Jack follows her to her house, where she meets two shady-looking people and buys drugs from them. As she's about to leave, Jack calls out to her and says he wants to talk to her for a bit. She takes him up to her apartment where her boss is inside and won't let her in unless she pays the rent. She pays and goes in with Jack. Both of them. She's very sad about her situation. Jack tells her he was wrong to follow her, but wanted to get to know her better. And after seeing her situation, he wants to help her. She tells him, "I don't need your charity," and kicks him out. But he stays. She pushes him further and yells at him, so he gets up to leave. To convince him her situation is beyond help, she injects herself with drugs in front of him so he'll believe she's no good for him. He leaves, defeated and sad. Back to the present, Juliette tries to fix the radio and finally gets it working, but hears the sound of a monster that eats humans. She goes out to get her weapon and prepares for a fight. At that moment, the radio picks up a signal and Harry speaks. The monster hears the sound and comes back, but Juliette throws the radio outside the car. The monster goes to the sound, finds it coming from the radio, throws it, and starts banging on the car. Then it hears another monster in the area and leaves, heading toward the sound. Juliette loads her gun to be ready for any attack or fight. Back to her memories, Jack is at home painting when he hears a knock at the door. He opens it to find Juliette badly beaten, probably by one of her drug dealers. Jack takes her in, cleans her wounds, and lets her sleep in a room. The next day, Juliette wakes up and thanks Jack for his kindness. He asks her to tell him more about herself, but she avoids the topic and says she wants to go for a walk. When she goes to the door, she finds it locked, as are all the doors and windows. Jack tells her she won't leave until she quits drugs and recovers from her addiction. She starts breaking things and screaming for him to let her go, but he stands his ground, and she eventually gives in to his decision. Back to reality. She has emergency flares in the car and starts turning them on and throwing them around the radio so the monsters will be scared of the light and stay away until she can go get the radio. She goes out to get it, but hears the sound of a monster around her and discovers it's on top of the car. She shoots at it and runs back inside the car, but the monster breaks the rear window and attacks her, grabbing her legs and trying to pull her outside. She tries to start the engine, which scares the monster off. Then it tries to get into the car, but she shoots at it and it runs away. Afterward, she remembers when Jack surprised her and bought a house for them to live in after they got married. She told him surprises always make her anxious, and he replied, "My mother used to do something to make me smile. His mother's movement, and also the tour. She smiled when he did that for her, and then he took her, and they went in to look at the house, and he took her to the room, telling her that this would be the children's. She asks him if he really wants children from her, and he confirms that he really wants her to be the mother of his children. We go back to the present time, and Julie has fixed the radio and managed to contact Harry, but the signal is weak. He asks her about her location, but she doesn't know exactly where she is, so he tells her to use the signal tracker and follow the instructions exactly so they can locate her. She gets the device and starts following the instructions. We go back to the past. She goes to flirt a bit with Jack, and at the end, she says she can't read well and isn't sure if she followed the instructions correctly or not. She gives him the pregnancy test she took so he can read it, and that's how he finds out she's pregnant. Jack was very happy. Back to the present, we see her trying to read the instructions to activate the signal tracker, and she succeeds in turning it on, then puts it by the broken window, and at another window, she puts a piece of metal. Suddenly, a monster comes to attack her, but she keeps resisting so it can't get in. At the same time, she remembers when she was giving birth, but the baby was deformed because she had been using drugs, sir. Back to reality, she manages to get rid of the monster and locks herself in well, but it keeps shaking the car very hard, trying to reach her by any means. At the same time, Harry contacts her on the radio and tells her they found her location and are coming right now. She tells him, "Hurry, please." He asks, "What's that sound?" She says, "There's a cannibal here trying to attack me." He says, "Why didn't you tell me from the start?" He tells her monsters don't like the color green, and she should turn on the car lights so they'll be scared. At that moment, the monster breaks the front windshield of the car and is about to get in. She quickly runs and turns on the car lights. The monster gets scared and runs away. After that, she contacts Harry and asks when the plane will come to pick her up. Harry tells her that the operation has been canceled because there's a monster with her, and that's dangerous for everyone, especially at night. "We can only come in the morning." Julia curses him a bit, but he cuts off contact. Back to the past, Jack was sitting with Julie in the car and tells her, "How long will I have to keep searching for you in the streets?" She was emotionally destroyed and tells him, "You made me get pregnant, and in the end, I lost my child." He gets out of the car and says, "You're the reason your child died because of the poison that was in your body long ago." They argue a bit. Jack says he's going to the metro to clear his head. Back to Juliette in the present. The girl hears a car approaching, honking the horn. Someone gets out and comes to her, but instead of helping her, he tries to attack her. But the monster arrives, grabs him, crushes his head, and then eats him. Back to the past, Julia goes to drink at a bar after their fight and finds Jack calling her, but she doesn't answer. She sees on the news that there was a terrorist attack at the metro station where Jack was. He calls her again, and she answers to find someone from the hospital talking to her, saying Jack is among the injured and is in the hospital now. She runs to go to him. Back to the present, Juliette loses hope that she'll get out alive, and with no way to be rescued, she loads her gun and puts it to her neck, ready to kill herself. At the same time, she remembers when she went to see Jack in the hospital. The doctor tells her the terrorist attack involved chemical gas, which Jack inhaled, causing a serious injury to his throat and windpipe. He won't be able to speak again. She goes to him, finds him on the bed, wanting to be close to her. He moves his hand on the glass and caresses her face to make her smile, then starts writing to her on a board that he loves her very much and tells her to take care of herself, and she promises. Back to the present. She remembers her promise to Jack to take care of herself, and she changes her mind about suicide, deciding to face the monster and kill it. She gets out of the car with a jerry can of gasoline, pours it on another jerry can, and lights a flare. The monster approaches her, and when it gets close to the gasoline, she sets it on fire. But the monster runs, and the fire doesn't affect it. She's surprised when it climbs onto the car and attacks her. She sets it on fire and knocks it to the ground. Back to the past, she goes to the hospital and doesn't find Jack in his room. He had died. She screams and cries from the intensity of her grief. Back to the present, the monster gets up again and approaches Juliette, who is lying on the ground, unable to resist. It comes up to her face and caresses her with its hands, and then she realizes the monster is actually Jack, who had turned into a monster because of the gas from the terrorist attack in the metro. Juliette hugs him and then takes the gun and puts it to his head to kill him herself, and sees their photo that had fallen from the car at the beginning of the film flying away, and their tragic story ends like that. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell to receive all new updates. See you in the next video. Goodbye.